Hi, this is Alina, and welcome to the first episode of my podcast, When Art Meets Leadership. I'm passionate about companies where people do with love what makes impact, and I believe in art and its transformational power on our individual and collective level. And today I'm meeting someone very special. Anna Krieps doesn't need an introduction in Luxembourg. She's an accomplished international artist, photographer, art director. And we will talk today about how actually learnings from the artist's life can be applied to the business world, how to do innovation, how artist is actually motivating, giving the structure and accomplishing new ideas. So there are lots of things that you can discover for yourself, whether you're managing a team, whether you are building your own career, whether you are in the innovation space, you will learn a lot. And of course, if you are passionate about art, if you're an art collector, there's a lot to learn about how art is actually coming as an idea and how to make art and how to collect and what to look for. And of course, we touched base the AI, which is impossible not to touch base today. When I first met Anna, I was really taken away by the way she's humble, but also very determined about what she wants to do. I was impressed by the level of freedom that she has inside, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So let's just go to Anna's studio in a beautiful Esperange in Luxembourg. We're so lucky to be able to see where Anna works actually. Hello Anna, thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, I'm looking forward. Hi Anna. I'm so excited that we're talking today, and thank you very much for having us in your studio and showing your beautiful works as well. Thank you so much. So let's start maybe with your childhood and with your upbringing. What's the first scene maybe that you remember that impacted you as a photographer?
Well, I got when I was little, when I was 7, I got a Fisher Prize from my grandmother. And then I got into the taste of doing photos with film. Like doing the photos, having 36 images, then getting them developed, and then seeing what is coming out. And this Fisher Prize had like two, like you look like that in, and then you like click. Like a kid plastic camera, and it was very interesting what came out, and I would not say were good pictures, but it was already like the magic was already got me already with it. And then I think when I went to the Edward Steichen Family of Man exhibition, there was one day where they even invited people to come, and I was amazed about that exhibition. That's why I also wrote my thesis about him, about the exhibition, the Family of Man, in my master in Lausanne. I think that these two things, and then, of course, like which was the real first exchange was when my father came and gave me some analog cameras too, because he did that. He has a lot of cameras, and then like we did the analog. He taught me how to work with black and white, and with the camera, and also like the lens and the timing, and yeah.
Where did you start when you were a kid? So what was attracting you to photograph? What was your inspiration? As a kid, as a teenager, when you were still learning from your father?
Well, for my father, it was much more like how to use black and white film, like how to accentuate things and with composition, and that was something very interesting to explore, I guess. And then I started doing photos of my friends, and it was so great because they were so happy for that, and I don't know, it was very magical always to capture moments on film, especially actually, to have it in a. I think that was like something which really like got me, that it's like a material thing. Actually, it's like you create an artwork or like an artifact of something. It's like, you know, you see it, and then it becomes, and then it's like registered on this little negative, which is I think, and it's a moment, you know, a moment of time, like fugitive, you know, which is forever captured in that little image, you know. I think that's the most which kept me doing, and why I never stopped. Also, why I never changed to digital, I guess, because it never really gave me this feeling of magic of something, creating something real also, because I knew the other thing, and then it was very difficult for commercial works to work with digital and getting out same kind of quality pictures. Yeah.
That's so beautiful what you say, because clearly in your works today you can see that you keep photographing people, so people interest you, people are at the center of your photography, not something else. And you started saying you photographed friends and they loved it, of course.
Yeah.
And second, this magic that you're talking about, you can really feel it in your works. So there's lots of magic in the way you create your works. Also, you say that your work lies somewhere in between the reality and fiction. So you use real people, but you create worlds. How is it for you? What's your process there? What's your thinking?
It's people who make me like I think like camera is for me a tool to get to know the world, or like a tool to express myself. What is occupying me in the moment or in the world, and then I want to translate it in an image, and that's fictive then, because I have an idea, and like a painter would paint a painting. I have this idea of doing something visible, but in a fictive way. To not try to show reality because it's fake, because it's we done actually. It's but in the same time it talks about reality. But that's the power of an artist, to be able to express yourself in any way you want. But in the same time, the message is everyone would understand, you know, because it's universal, this language then. And that's why I started also studying photography, because when I realized that people actually finally understand me, because I really had problems in school and to express myself. I was always like artists. They are always like trying, when they're expressing, they do big sentences, or like I was never good at a student to become like someone working in a bank or somewhere, because I could not function like that, and I could also not express like that. And when I realized first time that people understand me through a picture, that was for me the most gratifying thing. I didn't have to explain anything anymore. First time in my life, it was just like there, and people told me about what they see in the image, and I thought before, and then I'm like, wow, this is incredible. People are finally like, I don't have to explain myself anymore.
I remember we had this conversation why you do art, and you had a very interesting answer. I don't know if it's still the same for you, but I think we were in this group setting and someone asked, why do you do art? And I remembered exactly the answer that you said, because I cannot not do it. So it's really about the language.
Yeah. And as like since I do it since I stopped school. Like I went to study art in Netherlands. After I went to actually a summer academy where I got a grant for next year, and that was for me actually the sign. I was like, okay, they got me, so it should be for real. And then I went to study because I was really scared. I mean, like I think it's like when you like grow up in Luxembourg, art or becoming an artist is not a thing. And then you have to be very brave to stand behind it. And when I got this grant, I was okay, go doing that. And to answer you on your question is like, after doing it and realizing that's my language, people understand me, you cannot stop talking, for example. You know, it's like something, like it's a need to express yourself. Every human being has it. And if you stop doing it, you become unhappy, you know. And so when I started, for example, teaching art in high school, was nice, but I became very unhappy because I stopped doing my own art and expressing for my own. And yeah, and that's where I guess I realized that it's necessary. There's not like an option. I have to do it because otherwise, yeah, I would turn against myself. Yeah.
What helped you actually to maintain this freedom and really clarity about what you want to do, despite maybe, I don't know, people saying that you should be doing other things? I think I read in one of the interviews that everyone was telling you should work in a bank, that the typical financial sector is strong in Luxembourg. So what helped you to really be free and know what you should be doing?
For sure, first, it's like a big part, which is the education. That's also, I guess, why my sister became actress. It's also, I mean, she had to be even more brave, I guess. But
I mean, family.
But I think our family was really behind us, helping us to. They were really like pushing us to go where we want to go, as long as we really do it, and as long as we really stand behind it and do everything for it. Like that's something I'm very happy that my parents were there for us and always like, yeah, always keeping our back. Also when there were moments when it was not so easy. Yeah. And I'm very happy because actually the biggest artist in our family is my brother, my twin brother actually, and he never believed in himself so much in his art, and he never really, so he was very scared about this art world, but now he started doing art, and
it's amazing.
Yeah, and now we all do the art in the family.
And it's such a big also message for parents about how you should keep the back of the kids and let them also dare and fly and do the things that they need to do to.
For sure.
And it ultimately it works out, right? Not be scared. It works out.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's normal for parents, you know, you want your kids to succeed the best. Yeah. And then if they take the biggest risk, of course you're scared that it won't work, and you can't help him, of course, because every human being is for himself, of course, and goes his own way.
It's hard as a parent. I also have a kid, and yes, I think it's a bit everywhere. You want the best for your kid, you push, you know, but it's inevitable that you can go into the advice mode, thinking what's the best for your kid. And I'm definitely taking I was taken away by the freedom of expression, and you can see that there are 3 of you and all of you are very free in what you do. Mm-hmm. And as a parent, I'm definitely taking it as the learning, yes. Yeah. And how ideas arrive to you? So what's your creative process? Because I come from the world of business, and obviously all the companies want to innovate as well and have the ideas and have this creative process. So maybe we can take something from you. What is it for you? How do you create new ideas?
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, for me, it's necessary. Like, it's like it comes up. Like, I have an idea, it's like, and then I'm like, something really occupies me, something's going on in the world, or like, my work is very personal, actually, I guess. And it talks about humans. And for me, photography was always also like a tool to make the world visible, which you don't really like enter into worlds you would never enter in. But that was like my excuse to when I started doing a bit documentary. And then to answer your question is it comes up, and then I think about it more and more, and then sometimes I paint it to see if it's like to know how the composition should be, or like if it's not too much like just an idea which comes up. And sometimes I ask people, my brother or my sister, a lot, my brother and my sister, like they give me, like my brother wrote the script now, like to read, because like we are so close, like when you're sister and brothers, you understand each other better, and then it's helpful to create, to get closer to the image you want to do or the series. Yeah. Sometimes it's very clear. Sometimes I have an idea and I have to do it, and I just do it. Sometimes it just comes. And then sometimes it takes time also, like it takes a year or something that I trust that idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or I start doing one picture and then I'm like, oh yeah, this could be the start of that series. Or yeah. Or when I work with my sister, for example, now it's different. It's like I need to be very efficient in the moment I am with her, because she has no time anymore.
Yeah.
Well, since it's just one part of my work, it's not so important. But like this, I had to become more like the last series. For example, I did with her. Well, there was one we did here, and then because she was here, or another one when I went to Berlin. I did this series in the selfie museum, actually, and I really like, this was already like, it really occupied me to know like what there's selfie museums existing in each big city now. People go there to, like, they don't go in museums anymore to see art, but they go into the museum to do art from themselves, or like not even art. And that's also, I think, what is art nowadays with all this social medias, and like everyone has a phone which has a great camera. Like there's it's really like a weird time we're living in, and then this selfie museum was for me, well, I have to go there. And like since I have this astronaut costume, like helmet, and here it was like a new costume, it was a Chanel costume, extra for the selfie museum. But it's actually, costume exists once only. So yeah, it was about like, this astronaut, for me, the character is the character who doesn't fit in this society, the alien in this society, who has problems to adapt, and so that's why I went to with the astronaut, my character, my muse, my sister, to that museum, and it went very quickly. It was very efficient, so I could work with her like efficient but I could not like develop a work anymore with her, like well, it would take time a lot. Do one picture, and then the next time when she's free again. And
interesting. And this brings us also to this idea of how art can impact the society, the collective imagination, the perception of things. So you were saying that this very energetic, there's lots of energy in this picture, represents the alien, and I know that there's lots of social meaning behind. You also talk a lot about how women rights were never respected in art, and there was the process where you...
It's something which, I mean, I'm a woman, and since I do this work about, like, it's very personal. I could say, like, when I work with my sister, for example, for me, she's just my muse, because we're so close, it's almost like an autoportrait. And so you could see it like that, because I have this idea, and I could not put myself in the image because I need to do the picture. I started doing autoportraits now myself, with the doing the flashes, this myself, and it's super difficult. So yeah, I talk about women because it deals with me in this society, and I always my work is always talking about something that occupies me and my life. And then because we are so close, my sister, I see that it's very difficult for women in film business. So I did one series with her about that. But the émotion incarnée, for example, how the identity also, like how women are. I gave her that crown and from actually, which was a collier from Maite Schmidt, jewelry artist, and I put it. I thought it was looking nice on as a crown because. It puts her up as a woman also.
Yeah.
And,
how about dressing up the pictures? I know that you started doing photos. Iconography, yes. What? That's very interesting. The way you first did the photos of Vicky not dressed, and then you had some realization about what is the impact, why people are buying them. No?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. This is
what. Yes, and then you changed exactly,
yeah.
and then the impact came after. So you started as irony, I think you said, no?
Yeah, yes. Exactly. So since we do photos together, since I started studying photography or even before, and I think she was always very clear. She did theater. She was always also in that direction, and I was much more interested in the image and not acting in the image. But so that became very natural, and then I went to see her a lot on set, doing photos behind the scene, and that's where I realized how difficult it is for women sometimes, because you need to, in being an actress, it feels a lot like you could say prostitution sometimes, because you're not asked to, you just have to act, you have to. If they say you put this on and then it's middle of the winter, it's like that, and it's often like that. The beauty of the woman body was always used in art, and that's what I realized then. I wanted to do work about that because it was really difficult for my sister, and I wanted to visualize that since we're close, and I thought I want to do work about it. And then I realized, well, in all art history it was always like that since the beginning. The first paintings were Venus paintings of a naked woman, and then very rich people were having it under a veil, and then showing it to when they had visitors, and being very proud of it to show this naked woman in this painting. Yeah. But they didn't know who was the woman, or so
no one cared.
No, and they were somehow showing off with that.
Yes.
And I think, in movies, Truffaut said, the beauty of the woman body in movies is the importance is 80% of its success, which is, I guess, a bit too much, but that's Truffaut. But I think there's for sure truth in it, and I think that for sure, movies work with the beauty of the woman to make a film attractive. Yeah, so I wanted to do work about that, and then I recreated these old Venus paintings, or paintings from Monet, or the one from John Millet, who painted Ophelia, and that woman, this prostitute, she had to lie in a bath in the attic for hours. So she got a cold, and after she had to pose for that painting, she died. No one talks about that. So that's why I wanted to put the most draw the attention again to the subject, actually. So I did reproduction of these paintings with my sister, the actress. So it looked also like I didn't reproduce it perfectly like the painting. I wanted to look like the making of the painting, you know.
Yeah.
So you see around, and to show how it is in a scene as an actress, you know, have to, then I did that work, and then I showed it, and first I showed it in Nussbaum Reding Gallery, which was great because in that gallery actually only art connoisseurs, like, or like collectors are coming, you know, like really interested in art and not like in an object, or like in a showing off with something. And I thought, like, when I do this work, people would understand the meaning behind it. Like, they would be shocked about this naked woman in the image, but then a bit maybe, or like question it, you know, because it's it does it with me. I mean, like,
so I thought, they would get like, the irony of
they would
at least
understand what I want to say with it, actually. And it was like that, like, and it was really like people saw not the subject in the image, like my sister, but they saw actually the idea behind it, and also like were very interested about what was actually the message. Then after that, though, people got to hear about these images, and then they wanted to exhibit them, or like get one, to have one in their living room, or and then I was really like, I couldn't believe it, because it was totally like the opposite what I wanted to achieve with that work. I wanted to actually make people think about it, not do the same than in the past, like showing off with that naked famous actress. So I had to find a solution, because I couldn't show her naked. Also online, I promised to my sister I wouldn't do that. And then I started. There was time passing, and I did other works, and then I did some works with embroidery. And then I just, like, it was like a click. This is the solution, what I have to do with that work. So I put bikinis on like I embroidered bikinis on the paintings, photos. And in the end, it was a very nice, interesting come out, because you had like the painting as a backdrop, where she was in front of that backdrop I photographed, and then there came the embroidery on the photo, which made like a 3D, really like it became alive. And then also, which I really, why bikinis? Why did I come up with bikinis? I could have done just like pixelize it or something, and I was like, no. But bikinis was very important to me, because I realized, like, in the last years, it really shocked me to see like so many women posing in some bikinis online on their Instagram to just get more likes, to become more known, or more
to be seen.
And it is linked to like acknowledgement all of a sudden, to have more likes, which is, I guess, if we think about it, everyone knows it's actually ridiculous. It's not a real appreciation of someone, you know. It's actually sick, and that's why.
And it's very damaging to the mental health.
Yes, and people, and for me, it looks like prostitution already. You know, like women, like young girls posing in bikinis on social medias, like. Why, like, you give away so much of yourself, which is, I think, precious, and should not be like just for show to people, you know. And that's why I did this bikini series.
And it does look very interesting, because then you put other embroideries on that. It really has this 3D dimension, and some special meaning about actually having the photo originally done as it was, but then evolving and saying, I want to pass a message. And I pass it in that way, and the message is that there is a person, a human behind, and yes, I'm not going to, sell it out just because it sells out. Yes?
Yeah, exactly. I could have gone with it, you know. I could have sold it, like, and make a lot of money, but that's not why you do art. And you want people to understand you in your own way you can express, and this is the biggest payment you can get, actually.
And it takes us to next question. So art world is very competitive. So how do you actually, such as a business world, so you always, you're always bombarded with lots of images, lots of success stories, lots of commercially success stories, right? So how do you actually keep yourself grounded and keep doing what you think you should be doing without, starting to adapt on what the market asks, or what other people think you should do to earn more money or be more successful or be more known? What's your secret here?
Well, there's no secret. Actually, it's more frustrating to me to see this, actually, that the world works like that. On codes, I call it like that. Like, it's almost like paintings or images and art works with codes nowadays. And for me, it was always something personal. It was always just something it has to. And so I would never go somewhere like, because I'm interested in how women are not treated well. For example, in the Eastern, like in, I don't know. I don't want to say any country or like any, but what I mean, like, not. I don't go into a country which I have no connection to, where I want to visualize something because it's now like a topic. I don't go and, because it's not personal. It would be like I would steal someone's idea, or it would not feel real. It would not feel like, it would feel like it's not my work. And that's why I couldn't do something like that, only because it's now mode, fashion. And but I think, without thinking about it, my work is not old-fashioned or something. It's, I guess, somehow I work with the time also. I mean, since it's always something which occupies me now, and it's always like something, like, I mean, the embroidery, for example. How did I get to the embroidery? It was like because I wanted to find a solution for showing something in an image. But in the same time, I saw that like a lot of people were more and more doing that. And on Paris Photo, for example, I saw that, and it was very inspiring. Yeah, but I would never like go there and say like, oh, I want to do this now.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like almost like there's a trend and everyone picks it up from in its own way. Yes.
Yeah. The most exotic thing I did in that kind of way was now, like when I went to Mexico, Oaxaca, for a residency, and I don't speak Spanish, and I mean, South America, like, what do we have to do with South America? I mean, I know. But what was my interest, why I went there, was because I wanted to know more about the history of embroidery, where were the first the steps, and where, like, what importance it had to society, and I just wanted to get more, and like not just doing it, but I wanted to also have a more like a cultural background to it, and how the other cultures used embroidery, and like it's very impressive how important it is in that culture, actually. But that was the first time I did a work which was not directly related to me, actually, in that way. Like, I went to really like an exotic place for me, and I got to learn about this, and it was very, very enriching, very, and I learned a lot in my way of how I could use the thread even more, because of all the metaphors of the thread in this culture. Gives me even more ideas, even how I could use the thread in a good way, in a meaningful way, and not just in a decorative way.
So you always go one level deeper, 2 levels deeper, compared to maybe what you can just see as from outside. I like that you said I work all the time. In a sense, I find it very interesting, because there's always lots of debate about how much you should work, what is the work-life balance, like, is it possible at all to keep the balance? and what it is when you work for the company, you know, what is your work-life balance and so on. So how is actually your days how your days are structured? What's your routine? You are very creative but very productive and very productive. So what's your process? What's your day? And what are you working on now as well?
Okay, well, the structure in an artist's life, I guess, in the structure in life is, or the organizer, or being organized life. I mean, this is, I think, the biggest struggle for an artist, because you don't exist in that society as one, like in Luxembourg. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you live in Berlin, I was living in Berlin, for example, it was different. They were all artists. So it was more like, it was more there, like everyone, and you could meet in these, and then you went to exhibitions there, and you always had this exchange. But here it's very difficult to stay focused on your work. Like, yeah, you have to a lot push yourself to say, like, okay, this is my deadline for that work, or this is for this next project I have to do it then and then, or so you organize yourself like that. That's but I don't have a routine life, that's for sure. I don't. It's always changing, but it's also I'm not the person who works well with routines.
What works for you?
For me, works like always like doing a project, finishing it, and like really finish it. Like this one work was never really finished, but then like, and that's what it is. I mean, your structure. I like always to find a way how to finish some work, and then to go on to the other work, and how you could, like, sometimes you have an idea, you want to do this or that, and then you have to organize, how do I get there, when do I do this, and that's, I think, the work.
Yeah, that's what you do by yourself. And that's very interesting, because we all have some maybe side projects or creative ideas, even if we're not artists, that we would like to work on, but very often in a busy life those ideas are always getting postponed, and that's something I'm really taking with me as well, like organizing your life as if you are an artist and you want to accomplish it, and you want to have it really complete.
Yeah.
Also, because in an artwork you can see it very visibly if it's accomplished or not, but maybe in other projects not necessarily, but you still know if you finished it, right? And setting yourself a deadline. Yeah, sounds great. Yes.
And when you're an artist, you don't have an allowance to postpone, actually.
Exactly.
If you start being like that, you're lost. You know, you have to all the time go on and push yourself doing it, because the postponing, I mean, I was doing that also when I was teaching art, for example. I didn't took it for serious anymore, but now I have the artist status again, like since 3 years and a half. This is for me this is my work. This is for me the the acknowledgement, or like that's my patron. You know, it's like he. Like, I get that money to do this, so I also have to use that money to buy films or to travel there to do this work, and that's
It's also a driving.
So you don't
sometimes.
postpone anymore,
exactly.
because you take it more serious. But that was really a step I had to take, which I didn't understand in the beginning, and I always thought, like, what am I doing? I'm doing art, and like nothing. It's like I lose time, or I need to work. Like everyone talked. Even my ex-boyfriend said to me, "Well, you don't work. You just do. I don't know what it is. Like, you see your art, like." And he was like, "You did graffiti, you know, in Berlin." Like, so for him that was art. Art had to be free and not like. And so I didn't got an acknowledged there, and then I was like, oh, I have to go and work, because I am doing nothing,
Yeah.
but it was not true. And then, like, if you tell yourself it's nothing what you do, you do more and less put effort in it also, and then it becomes less and less good or important, or it's just, I think it's just to realize that it's your profession, and then
What I'm taking is actually taking seriously what you do, putting yourself deadlines, structure, creating it, and being really keen on getting it done. Yes.
Yeah, because you don't have a chef who tells you like you have to do that on the end of the week, or like that's the only, I think, work I have to like force to onto me a bit.
Yes.
You know, the other thing comes naturally. But it just comes naturally when I force myself having that moment to be able to do that work.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I do, for example, now, like to explain you what I'm working on now.
Yes. What are you working now?
Yeah, I had an exhibition now in Subtil, where you saw my work, and there was someone who bought work for me from a series I did about Petit Prince, because like in the scene of the book, Petit Prince, for me is really like it was always inspiring to me. And in my book, I did a book about space and human relationships. It's very present also, all of the quotes and then that series with the photos. And these photos now, I printed them on tissue since I embroider now a lot. And I thought it would be like fitting, because like a lot of works myself, they are very related to mythologies, like for example Petit Prince, or like stories, you know, which everyone knows. Yeah, and then I thought like this is like it's actually possible to do some more embroidery on it, like doing the fox on it, or doing the birds with whom he's coming to Earth. So this is one of the series, the picture of the series of the Petit Prince, and then you see here like that's the chapeau, like the hat
with the elephant inside.
And then you have the sheeps I'm working on now, and then the fox, and the Petit Prince.
And I can say it looks amazing.
Really?
And these
Like
all the images that we know, and the crown, and the way that knowing it's your twin brother there's I think so much love also.
Really?
Yes. That's what I feel. Yeah.
What do you feel?
That there's lots of love.
Lots of love
Visible on this painting, because it's your brother and you depict him as a prince.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I think art is giving out love also. No, it's like your love to the world. You show your love to the world. You want to express something because it's when I say it's occupying me, it's like it's because everyone is a loving person, you know, and it's connected with the world. I mean, and that's why maybe you see it in my images. Well, I work a lot with my family. Maybe that's also why you think that. We're very connected, respect each other a lot. I'm very happy for that. And for me, family is a very important thing. And I think that's why maybe I always work with my family.
Yeah. And I think this beautiful definition of art is expressing love for life. Takes us to our last question, which I cannot skip. It's about the role of AI.
Yeah.
I know you have your thoughts about it. So, and usually people in all the areas of our life, there are people that are always on the ends of the spectrum saying, okay, we are doomed because of AI, and people that are saying we're so excited because there are new opportunities. So where are you on this scale, and what do you think about AI and art?
I can't change the world. I am in it also, trapped. Especially as a photographer, I'm trapped even more in it. When it comes to AI, it's about having respect in front of people who have done works which AI uses to create a new image. And there I think it's very delicate.
Yeah.
Because if when you're an artist, you want to create something yourself. You don't want to create something based on other works. And then also like an algorithm, which is really like so far from what you did, I think probably humans will realize that even more. And then also it's because it's linked to author rights, It's.
I think you need to explain more what you mean, because I think most of us don't understand actually, and we think AI creates images from the air, So what are those images are created from?
Yeah, well, so this image is like, the whole computer is like, it's, the whole net,
Yeah.
it's all secondhand messages, it's all
so
based
pick up
on
images, yes, and create something.
Yeah, exactly, and AI works like that. So you give him some words, some inputs, and he's using, out of his database, he finds images that related to what you want to have, and it can't be just created. It's it's created out of multiple images. So in the end, it's not like a work from someone. You could not say like, this is like the work from that work. He's just created, just use that, or so you could not say like, it goes against this author rights of that person, but it goes against the author rights of every person. And like no one is anymore asked, and you don't even know if your work is in it or not. Like this scares me actually. And like when I do these fictive images, this is something I wonder. Yeah. Yeah. Well, here it's you would say like it's a image of the stars of the universe, but actually it's a fake image of the universe. And why do I do this? It's because people always believe in what they see, the images they are like given, and that's why I wanted to do to question this.
And such a strong message about actually not believing what you see and the questioning. No, what am I seeing actually?
Yeah.
What is my frame here? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so actually, this looks like it could be like an AI created images, right?
Yes.
But it's not, and because it's like based on like this is a negative of a moon. And then like there are like paillettes and glitter, which I put in a dark room to become like, and then I did a negative, a positive of the negative with the glitter, and this was a negative of a little astronaut plastic puppet, and so it becomes real though, because I created in a dark room and not through numbers, algorithms, or exactly. And I think that's something like it questions like what is real, what is not real, and if we create images which are fictive, they can still be more real than fiction,
and there's certain. I mean, this painting is not empty. There's lots of meaning behind.
Yeah.
While the other images still remain, it's like the texts that are written by the AI today. There's emptiness behind. So there's the same with regards to the images. And yes, I think that's a huge difference. Why we need to support artists and buy art and have the real art at home actually, or go to see it and understand what is real, what is not real, and where something fictional was created to pass a certain message, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And like in that way, I feel protected because I work with film,
great. Yes.
and it's always like I always have this. I can always prove like this is something I created, and so I'm happy. At least like this, I tell myself I can't be too much affected by this AI artists world now, but also I think. People, it's just normal that you realize also like this is maybe fun for a moment now, which like a lot of things like which are technological things which come up, new things which are always fun in the beginning, and then after we think about it and we realize about the real aspect about these things, I think we will no more be so keen about it. I think for some things, yes. I mean, for writing a text, for example. And that's, I think there it's even more difficult for like musicians and for writers, because this is really crazy, because you can write a book in 3 days with AI, or even 2 days, and then, or like a script, or and this is, I think maybe like you could say like a progress, but in the same time, it's not. You know, when where's the artist? Like,
do we want to read this book? I think that's the question. Like, do you really want to read this book? Are you going to spend your nights not sleeping? You know. Yeah. Because the book is calling for you. Like, is it going to happen? I think it's a bit the same as yes, you can recreate this image in AI, but okay. Yeah. Depends on the use, but are you going really to put it in your I don't know, bedroom, you know, and watch it all the time? That's the key question for me. Yeah. Yes. And then what are your future plans? What are you planning to do now? I was asked to exhibit, for example, in the Hespa Park. Here, just next to your where I live. And so I will show a series there, like a very old series I did, which will work very well in the park. And then I'm working. I'm doing a workshop in a school, in high school in Alin Mayrisch. They will also, like, they do photos, I help them to do a series of pictures. Amazing. We will exhibit in the Merla Park. Amazing. Yeah, and then there is, I'm very excited, I was selected, like some others in Luxembourg, for the Luxembourg Photo Prize. So congratulations! Thank you. There will be an exhibition about these works now in springtime. Yeah, and then what's next? Project I do with my brother, and I'm so excited about it. Good. Yeah. That will be also, I'm sure, a great collaboration, having a project with a twin brother. Yeah, better than this. I hope. Yeah. Well, we did like an animation movie together sometimes, like. And I know we work well together, so I know this will be great. Good luck with it. Yeah. Yes, and your brother as well. Well done. Yeah. Okay. And it was an amazing conversation. I'm really taking away lots of ideas about, you know, the creative process, about taking time. Also, when you said sometimes I work 1 year on the idea, I think the world is so quick that we don't realize actually what it takes. It's not that I just work. I mean, I have that idea in my mind, but I do other things. I mean, no, I understood. But also, I think it's also good for us sometimes that you have an idea and you keep thinking about it and you keep working, and you don't have to produce it in, you know, 1 week or it's okay. Yeah. You know? And sometimes it's also like you have an image and you're like, I don't know if that's good. Exactly. Like, and you have to let it time to look again, and then you realize things on that image you haven't seen before, and like, and sometimes it's like the key interlocutor. Yes. And I think it's the same for the innovation ideas anywhere. You have an idea and maybe then it's not the one, and then you keep working and getting organized and being your own. Like as you said, patron and chef, and giving your own objectives, and yes, being consistent and serious about what you do. I think it's all an amazing learning, and being surrounded by your art, it's a special privilege. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for your interest in my work. And